there? Already there? Yeah. Good evening, everybody. I'm Srikanth. I'm the operations manager at Ayur Universe. Ayur Universe is India's largest wellness portal offering wellness ailment management, online and signature programs in yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopath for global customers since 2016. We host more than 300 wellness centers across India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. We also aim to go global in a few years. So far, in the last 4 years, we have had customers coming from 65 different countries for their wellness programs through Ayur Universe. We are the only e-commerce portal approved by the Department of Tourism, Karnataka, and India. We are the only member of the Global Wellness Institute, California, out of India. So today we have a webinar on mental health through yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy. This is being presented in collaboration with Shares Yoga Retreat. Before I introduce the speakers for today, I just want to give a brief introduction about Shares. Shares in Sanskrit means all-round excellence. Shares is guided by the defining philosophy of Aditi Devo Bhava, which means treat every guest like God. They have an integrated approach to wellness, combining yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy. They have about 12 cottages in a sprawling campus property of 25 acres to serve a maximum of 27 guests. They also have their own organic farming. The guests are served by 86 staff who practice yoga on a day-to-day basis and live the philosophy of Shares. The staff who are with Shares have been there since 2004. About 70% of them are still there. And Shares also is a member of Relay and Shatai. Now let me introduce the doctors. We have Dr. Manjula. Dr. Manjula is an Ayurvedic doctor. She's got more than 15 years of experience in the field of Ayurveda, holds a master's degree in counseling and psychotherapy, and has been part of Shares since 2017. We have Dr. Shauja. Shauja holds a bachelor's in naturopathy and yogic sciences. She's the naturopathy doctor and the wellness consultant at Shares. She's got more than 5 years of experience in the wellness field. She's skilled in diet, nutrition, yoga, and natural therapies. She's been part of Shares since 2014, and she conducts Hatha Yogasana, Pranayama, Yoga Nidra, meditation sessions for Shares. So with that, let me go to the questions. I have a lot of questions to ask today. The first question I have is for Dr. Manjula. Dr. Manjula, how do we explain mental health to a layperson?
Mental health, the word mental health refers to cognitive, behavioral, and emotional well-being. It's all about how people think, feel, and behave. Sometimes people use mental health just to say they indicate the absence of mental health. Let me give a simple definition, which is by World Health Organization, the WHO, which is very relevant for today's topic. Mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, and he or she can work productively and is able to make good contribution to his family or society or the community. That is having that definition as a base. Let's move forward. As we all know, feelings, thoughts, and emotions are where we live, and how we feel is what decides our quality of life. And also, if you observe closely, going a little more further, every thought, every feeling, every emotion impact on day-to-day life, on our body, on our mind, and that designs our life. Let me go to the other aspect of it, why the discussion on mental health is so important. Recently, I was reading a research article from World Health Organization, which came by the end of December 2019.
Mhm.
It was quoting
Okay.
more than 450 million people are going to suffer
Okay.
mental disorders.
Okay.
And also, by the end of 2020, December, this is before the COVID-19 situation. I know, there is no more very recent research articles. Depression will be the second most ailment for which people will approach professionals,
Okay.
psychiatrists, or doctors.
Mhm.
And antidepressants are the second most prescribed medicines already.
Okay.
And they are giving the scenario in India, around 56 million people in India approached professionals to get help for depression. And there are some 38 million Indians who approached already the health professionals to get treated for anxiety related disorders. This gives already approached patients, if you call, you use the term patients, but it's very alarming that every sixth Indian is suffering from one or the other mental related issues. They don't approach. So, in the coming days, there will be a huge burden on the society, on the countries, maybe developed or developing, to treat these people if they approach or if they don't approach. That makes it relevant that we have to discuss about this mental health
Okay.
uh, in these days. So let me explain some definition of mind, how it is considered in Ayurveda.
Okay.
Considered as manas in Ayurveda,
Mhm.
a matter or subject which has both qualities and actions, and it is one which helps us to gain the knowledge of anything. So, if we know mind is a matter having uh, qualities and actions, then we should know what is the how to know the whether the mind is healthy or not healthy.
Okay.
So it's very easier if we know what is healthy status of mind. If a person can sleep properly,
Mhm.
can wake up in the morning peacefully, we can consider that person as healthy. If he can make decisions skillfully, then we can consider him as a healthy person. If he is not getting carried away by greed, grief, or the tough situations in the life, he or she can withstand, cope, take
Okay.
appropriate decisions at right time in the right place, that person's mind is considered as healthy. So I think this summarizes uh, in a gist what is mental health, how it is relevant, and how to understand if a person is healthy mentally or unhealthy.
So I picked up a couple of things that you said. I mean, it was so
Mm.
alarming to know that one out of every six Indian is going through issues. It's just that they don't talk about it. That essentially means that I'm in a group of like some 30 people, 5 people are actually facing issues. That's really scary. The other thing is the number. I mean, the numbers are going into millions. That's very alarming. One thing that I also picked up is that if somebody is able to go to sleep in peace, able to get up in peace with a lot of energy, and in a position to take decisions at the right moment and the right decisions, I think we can consider that person to be a health person who is of good mental health. Okay, I understood that. Okay, let me just go to the next question. So today, mental issues are on the rise. We also know that very recently we lost um, a Bollywood actor who committed suicide, who was going through mental health issues, and people are considering therapy and counseling to tackle them. Right, so that has been a general trend. This is partly because we see the body separately and the mind separately. How does traditional systems like yoga, Ayurveda, and naturopathy view the body and mind in relation to these issues?
So here, your first point was the mental illnesses are in race. I would like to point that first. In Patanjali Yoga Sutras,
Mhm.
Maharshi Patanjali has spoken about Pancha Kleshas, the
Okay.
5 kleshas. The kleshas means the reason for sufferings.
Mhm.
So he has uh, uh, mentioned about avidya, asmita, raga, dvesha, abhinivesha as pancha kleshas. I'll
Okay.
explain them. So avidya means lack of knowledge,
Okay.
ignorance. Asmita is egoism.
Mhm.
Raga means attachment. Dvesha means dislike,
Mhm.
aversion.
Right.
And then last one, abhinivesha is the fear of death.
Okay.
Here, avidya, ignorance acts as the root or field for everything else. So
Okay.
when there is no proper understanding,
Mhm.
then the egoism comes. When you don't
Okay.
know the real reason, you only consider what you feel. So there you identify yourself as higher. And then egoism comes into picture. So
Okay.
avidya, asmita. Raga means attachment. When there
Mhm.
is when there is egoism, then the attachment follows. When there is attachment, naturally you when you like something intensely, our tendency is to dislike some things intensely.
Mm.
So dvesha comes behind. And when all these things are happening, when there is so much attachment, when there is so much dislike, we naturally develop the fear of death.
Okay.
There's so much passion. So why I'm bringing it here is the reason for suffering, the reason for the rise in mental illnesses these days are this lack of knowledge.
Okay.
If I have to point one thing, that's lack of knowledge.
Okay.
People may consider the connection between body and mind, but they don't know how exactly are they connected.
Mhm.
They may
Okay.
feel sometimes yes they are connected, or if an information is given, or when someone is told that they are connected, they may agree, but they don't know how they are connected.
Right.
I think it becomes very very important to get into the depth of that understanding. For that, I would like to take the reference of Pancha Kosha theory.
Okay.
Pancha Kosha theory is from the Taittiriya Upanishad.
Okay.
This theory came into existence when a boy was trying to know his existence,
Mhm.
what he is truly, what am I? That's
Okay.
how the query started.
Right.
So that's how Panchakosha theory came into existence. There, they explain that each one of us, each human being is existed in 5 layers.
Okay.
We all exist in 5 layers, starting from the Annamaya Kosha, that's the physical body. Anna means food. So the body which is made out of food is Annamaya Kosha. The muscles, bones, all this forms the first
Okay.
layer. And
Okay.
we mostly, it's easier for us to connect to this layer.
Mhm.
And most of us get stuck in this layer.
Okay.
Okay, I am this, I look like this is my face, this is my skin tone, and we get attached to it so much.
Right.
But
Right.
that's not the end, that's a very limited knowledge.
Right.
So when you live only to that level, you're not living your life completely.
Right.
It's very important to understand your real existence, and then comes, if you go deeper into the understanding, there is something in the body which is making the making everything work. Like we take the food into the mouth, what takes
Mhm.
care of that food through the body till the elimination? There is something, it's not in our hands, right? There's some energy
Right.
acting on that
Right.
food. So that's where
Right.
the second layer is. Prana Maya Kosha. Prana
Okay.
means the life energy. The life,
Okay.
the Sanskrit name for life energy is prana.
Mhm.
In Chinese, it is called as chi. In
Yeah.
Japanese, it is ki. And in yoga, it is explained there are 72,000 energy channels throughout
Wow.
the body through which
Wow.
the energy circulation happens.
Okay.
to make it more tangible, all the biochemistry which is happening in the body, the metabolic reactions happening in the body is
Okay.
because of this energy, prana.
Mhm.
So physical body, and then as we go deeper into it, the physiology, what is happening in the body is because of the pranamaya kosha.
Right, right.
Okay. And then if we go deeper into that is the manomaya kosha. Mana
Mhm.
means manas, mind.
Okay.
So in
Okay.
this,
Okay.
yeah, annamaya,
Pranamaya,
pranamaya,
manomaya. Yeah.
manomaya, third layer. So in this, there are two components again, manas and chitta.
Okay.
In manas, like now you listen to me, it gets processed. That's
Right.
manas. And then
Right.
whatever the impression of each thought will be stored in chitta.
Mhm.
So that's why our thoughts are very powerful.
Right.
That's why it is important to be mindful of our thoughts because they leave an impression.
Right. Right.
So the thoughts are the mode of our life. We are conducting our life through thoughts.
Right.
So every thought gives an impression, and every impression gives your personality.
Mhm.
So third layer is about your personality.
Okay.
And if you go deeper to that is the Vijnanamaya Kosha, where the intellect comes into the play.
Okay.
And the ability for one to discriminate between good and bad,
Okay.
right and wrong, is in this layer. And
Okay.
because of the culprit mind, we discriminate the things in the wrong way. Like when I
Okay.
say culprit mind, as we experience things,
Right.
we will get conditioned to think in a way.
Mhm.
If I have to explain here, children are more
Mhm.
happier, much more happier than the adults,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because they just live in the moment.
Right. Right.
Their chitta or the subconscious mind or the chitta is not well formed.
Mhm.
They just enjoy those moments and they move forward with the time.
Right. 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 Right.
So the ability also will not be affected, or to think will
Mhm.
not be affected. So that's about Vijnanamaya Kosha. And then going further is the Anandamaya Kosha. This is a layer of bliss, pure
Okay.
bliss. And beyond that is our awareness, our true self.
Right.
So in Gita, it is beautifully explained that when mind is under our control,
Okay.
mind is our best friend.
Mhm.
When I
Okay.
say mind under our control, me means awareness.
Right.
When you're
Right.
constantly aware of your thoughts,
Mhm.
then mind is your best friend. If you
Okay.
allow your mind to control you,
Okay.
then there cannot be worst enemy than that.
Okay. All right.
So that's where the importance of yoga processes are,
Right.
where we work on our physical body, Annamaya Kosha, by the postures. And if you see, all these yoga processes are not for one layer.
Okay.
Maybe like we do asanas mainly at Annamaya Kosha, but
Mhm.
we pay so much attention to our breath. We pay so much attention to how we feel while we are in the posture.
Mhm.
So that's how each of the processes are not just for one layer, but for our whole existence.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that's why people make it easier and say yoga is for body, mind, and soul.
Right. Right.
So that's how it acts at all layers of our existence. And
Fantastic.
all these processes help us to keep our experiences only for our growth,
Mhm.
not for hindering our growth or hindering the
Fantastic.
experiences of life. So
Fantastic.
that's how yoga looks at the body mind complex.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. I learned a lot. So you spoke about the Panchakesha and Panchakosha. So Panchakosha, you said Annamaya, and you said Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, right?
That's
So
right.
yeah, and then Anandamaya. Fantastic. It's a very new learning point. And I'm also assuming, just clarify this for me, when you said Manas and Chit in the Western world, they call it the conscious mind and the subconscious mind.
That's
Is
right.
it the same thing? Yeah.
That's right.
Fantastic.
That's right.
All right. Thank you so much. So Manjula, would you like to add anything to this question, or can I get? Is there anything that?
Yeah, one small example,
Sure.
just one example. I just
Right.
want to make it a little more this thing by giving the example from Shreyas,
Okay.
just to explain how body is related.
Okay.
So there was a guest sometime ago who came and checked into our Shreyas retreat with the complaint of migraine headaches for
Okay.
3 to 4 years.
Okay.
He came to have Ayurveda therapies
Okay.
during it is physical. So what happens is Shreyas, we
Mm-hmm.
give a detailed consultation with all the from all uh, branches, like Ayurveda doctors will meet, naturopathy doctor will meet, and yoga team will meet. So the
Okay.
treatment began with Ayurveda, considering there is some pitta imbalance.
Mm.
Though in the beginning we doubted there is something related to the mind rather
Right.
than to physical.
Okay.
So we waited till we built the good rapport,
Okay.
till he understood us, I mean the whole ambience and the facilities of Shreyas.
Okay.
So once that is achieved, we
Mm.
understood we were giving Shirodhara and some herbal combinations,
Mm-hmm.
and we regulated his food habits and everything, along with the yoga sessions which were offered to him. We waited for some day.
Okay.
So we got a very not the results which we wanted.
Okay.
Within 2 3 days, we will have an idea that we should get. I mean, this much should. These are the results we would like to see
Okay.
from our team side. So when we did not get it, then we took the help of yoga team.
Mm-hmm.
There was a good discussion
Okay.
and a good, I mean, discussion with the guest, where we came to know there is some emotional blockage.
Mm-hmm.
He underwent some very situations
Okay.
for a very long period of time. Then again, we offered him meditation sessions, pranayama sessions, some more posture sessions, along with this Ayurveda therapies and herbal preparations and everything. He came for 14 nights, and by the end of 13th night, we achieved. When I tell we, I'm including him also.
Right.
Us, we achieved what we were looking for.
Oh, fantastic.
Went back happily, following everything now, because we always, I mean, keep in touch. We
Mm-hmm.
head back home with the help of chats or sessions or whatever, how much ever we can do, using the email chats kind of thing. So this is, I think, this makes very clear how body and mind are interrelated. You cannot separately treat them.
Okay.
If that is the treating is the right word, we cannot separately consider them and we can separately treat them.
Right. Right.
I think that example would help to support
Right.
that body and mind are interrelated and closely related and inseparable.
Okay. 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 Now that you are there, I'm going to ask a question to you. So usually people begin to approach traditional systems when all other solutions have failed. Right? Rarely do people see a correlation between diet, lifestyle, yoga, naturopathy, Ayurveda with anything other than physical fitness, let alone mental health. How can it change this approach?
I can strongly say through proper education and proper awareness.
Okay.
Our responsibility being Ayurveda doctors, naturopath doctors, and yoga teachers, it's our responsibility to tell the community, to educate the society how Ayurveda, yoga, naturopathy, when combined in a proper way, skillfully, can uh, give wonderful results. And awareness, creating awareness how not to become prey of so-called mental illness,
Okay.
educating them. For example, let me take the examples now instead of going in detail about how to approach. So educating them in terms of daily routine, which is explained in Ayurveda in the form of dinacharya.
Mm-hmm.
For example, educate them how important to wake up in the morning early.
Okay.
Called Brahma Muhurta. Scientifically, if you see, it is the time when serotonin gets secreted.
Okay.
We call it as peace hormone. So your day will be very peaceful. You will be
Okay.
enthusiastic. People do not know getting up, waking up early in the morning will have all these benefits.
Mm,
It
mm.
will. Second, let me take another example from the dinacharya, the daily routine. Going to bed early so that you have time to contemplate about the day.
Okay.
You have a good night's sleep. That
Right.
will not go on working in your mind.
Right.
So these examples from dinacharya, you can take example for Dinacharya. There are some seasonal regimens explained in Ayurveda. For example, spring season, uh, taking cooling things.
Mhm.
Say, for example, buttermilk.
Okay.
You may ask how buttermilk will affect your mind. When your body feels very cool,
Okay.
mind gets calm. When your stomach is cool down, your mind gets calm. I am putting it in very simple words so that it will be very easy to understand.
Okay.
One thing, we Ayurveda, when it comes to seasonal regimens, we tell in spring season you have to walk in the evening
Okay.
because you will get good sunlight, which is rich in vitamin D or whatever, and it will open up your mind, which is very important.
Mm-hmm.
There are something which is in terms of sadvrita, the
Mm.
following ethical code, rasayana, following a code, a good code of conduct,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and all these things are very important. For example, do not lie, do not cheat. We all know it.
Yes. Yes.
We need to create an awareness. How if you cheat, it will cause a stress on your own mind, leave alone the person who is getting cheated. This education we need to give to prevent the mental health, which is need of our.
Right.
In this situation where we are in COVID-19 situation, it is not easy to get the medical help.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always better to promote how to stay safe mentally, strong
Right.
mentally, how to prevent mental illness.
Right.
What are the preventive methods? So
Right.
education and awareness can create, make people understand
Right.
how this integrated way works.
Okay.
Again, creating an awareness. Yes, the other counterpart of medical science are of great help. Popping up a pill is a great help, and we should keep it as a last option. Body and mind is so complex. It's a very long term process.
Okay.
Short term approach will not address the issue.
Okay.
This education, this awareness is also need of now.
Okay.
By following daily yoga practices, taking some daily routines, following some daily routine,
Mm.
all this will help a person who is on the verge of falling prey to mental illness to bring back his mental health. So this education and awareness should be created by us professionals, is what I strongly feel, so that people can approach and also
Okay.
educate them. I was telling about what is the symptoms of healthy mind.
Right.
Get them to see for the symptoms and signs when they need to approach,
Right.
where it can be set right, if that is the right word to see. For example, there are three, we in Ayurveda, we have something called as prajna, the cognitive acuity or the understanding, proper understanding, which has three components. One is dhi, which helps us to get the proper knowledge.
Okay.
If we observe in our neighborhood or my colleague or my student is not able to attain the proper knowledge,
Okay.
he is little bit confused, it is the right time direct him to some of the daily routines. If this continues, if a person if they fails to get the proper knowledge, then it leads to hallucinations, ADHDs, All these are real mental illness which needs real medical professional help for a
Okay.
long time. But still it can be managed if it is addressed in the beginning stage.
Okay.
Very important. And there is one more thing, retention power, or we call dhriti, where
Mhm.
mind, there is equilibrium between sense organs, mind. There is a proper connection between mind and sense organs. Mind
Right.
controls sense organs, seeing, hearing, or whatever. So if that is there is that it is not functioning properly, if the dhriti aspect of mind is not functioning properly, you can see some falling prey to psychoactive drugs. We call substance abuse
Okay.
kind of thing, behavioral disorders, all these things. So before
Okay.
going to that, we need to address.
Right.
And there are third thing is called as component is called as smriti, the memory power.
Okay.
If this attaining the proper knowledge, attaining it or controlling the sense organs is not functioning properly, then this memory function will deteriorate over the period of time, giving rise to delusions, deliriums, forgetfulness, all those things. So I think if we educate our society where to seek the help,
Right.
create the awareness what is the science of a healthy mind, what is not the science of healthy mind,
Right.
I am very sure people can approach for help much earlier.
Okay.
It will be very easier to build the rapport and bring back the status of mind,
Right.
health, is what I strongly feel.
Fantastic. Okay. So I have one more question now. So you brought up COVID, and since COVID, appeared from nowhere, we've been told that if you build your immune system, you will protect yourself against any virus, right? So people are like, everybody's after, okay, I'm going to build my immunity. And we know that Ayurveda, yoga, naturopath, all these systems help you to build immunity. My question to you is there something called mental immunity also?
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
Let me put it in very simple words. Let us
Right.
make it very complicated. If a person, it's a person's ability to
Right.
observe his
Okay.
emotions, thoughts, feelings without getting carried away, without getting involved in those,
Hmm.
especially the negative thoughts, negative emotions, and negative feelings.
Right.
As you asked, I was just reading the Dalai Lama's this thing. He was telling, yes, mental immunity exists.
Okay.
If a person is feeling happy,
Okay.
irrespective of the external situation,
Right. Right.
that is mental immunity according to Dalai Lama.
Okay. Okay.
So let me come to Ayurveda now. We have something called as Sattva Bala, the mental strength, which is equivalent to the mental immunity, what we described earlier. So it is a genetic endowment as it is inherited by our parents during the conception.
Hmm.
It is nurtured uh, through our own experiences, through the situations which we are thrown into during our lifetime, you as a baby, as a child, as an adolescent, as an adult. So there are two kinds here also. As physical immunity, mental immunity is also two kinds. One is inherent, which I told, the genetic endowment, and another is acquired.
Okay.
The inherent one gets nurtured through our own experiences or the teachings or education or whatever. Most probably, it's always through our own experiences than the external teaching.
Right.
So we have to, when we talk about mental immunity, we should be very careful. As in physical case, a person can have very good mental immunity inherited, which is called as Pravarsatva in our Ayurveda. He can have he can make skillful decisions and very courageous. So for such a person, he needs little help
Okay. Okay.
at the earliest. Is that he or she will be very strong to follow the guidelines, and he will take most out of that help.
Okay.
Second category is moderate, we call madhyama sattva.
Hmm.
It's in between. This person is not very weak. He is inherited a kind of immunity from his parents' genes. Uh, he needs a little more help.
Okay.
He needs a little more support. He needs some more experiences. The similar kind of he should get exposed to similar kind of experience many times.
Mm. Mm.
It's called as of moderate. He can follow. You have to always, support him, motivate him for him to follow the guidelines. He is the person who is saying moderate immunity, mental immunity, or madhyama sattva. The
Right.
third category of people is avarasattva people who has very low mental immunity.
Okay.
Inherit the parents will be having very low mental immunity. He or she will inherit that.
Mhm.
These are the people we should, the real help,
Okay.
a real motivation for very long period of time because they cannot take the stresses of life easily. They need the support.
Okay.
You should not let them go out of their way because it's very easy for them to go out of their path. So,
Okay.
uh, mental immunity, when if we know a person was in which kind of mental immunity, then it's easier to address accordingly.
Okay.
It's very important. You can use yoga processes, you can use Ayurveda massages, you can use some herbal, very good herbal combinations and single herbs to build this mental immunity. Yeah, Dr. Shahuja will add to it.
Right. Right. I want to, because she has not spoken for a long time. I wanted to actually pull her. Yeah. Yes, Dr. Shah. What is your take on that? You have to unmute yourself, Dr. Shahuja. Yeah.
So in yoga, there is concept of yamas and yamas under
Okay.
Ashtanga yoga.
Right.
That's where we will begin from. Yamas are the set of rules one should follow with others, like ahimsa means non-violence, satya means being truthful, ahimsa satya, asteya means non-stealing, brahmacharya is celibacy, practice of celibacy, and non-possessiveness. Brahmacharya, aparigraha. Aparigraha means non-possessiveness.
Mhm.
So, yes, when I say non-violence, not only physically, at all level, like in your thoughts, you can be violent in your thoughts,
Okay.
in your actions, or in your speech. Even your words may hurt people. So it's important to stay aware of these yamas in all ways. Being truthful. When you're truthful, you're less stressed. You
Right.
don't have to
Right.
remember the lie you have.
So you don't have to remember the lie. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
And then, so truthfulness and non-stealing. Yes, being content with what you have. Again, I have one more point there in yamas. And brahmacharya, celibacy, because lust can take you
Right.
anywhere, and that
Right.
can be a huge reason for the stress. It can haunt you for years if you go wrong in such places. And last one is non-possessiveness. It's easier said than done.
Right.
We easily get depossessed, or we feel that possessiveness, at least with the people, our loved ones.
Right.
But that
Right.
is only giving, that will only lead us towards suffering.
Right.
So staying aware of it to start with, it's not easy. Maybe like Dr. Manjula mentioned, for the person with high mental immunity, it is very easy to practice this as soon as they hear,
Mm.
as soon as they hear this. But for a lower immune person, it could be difficult. So we have solutions for that. I'll be talking about it. Then niyamas, which talks about shaucha, cleanliness, personal hygiene, also cleanliness of our thoughts,
Right.
and contentment. The shaucha, santosha. Santosha means contentment, being happy with what we have. That prevents, just that attitude prevents us from so many other emotions which can
Okay.
bother us, right? Shaucha, Santosha, Tapas. Tapas means determined, being austerity, being determined in our decisions.
Right.
And then Tapaswadhyaya means contemplation,
Right.
self-contemplation. Swa means self, Adhyaya means study, self-study. When we are aware of how we are, or whatever emotions we have gone through, like yes, we might not have good control on all emotions, but just staying aware of them, or by the end of the day just analyzing our emotions
Right.
and releasing them without letting them to go and sit deep inside, consciously releasing them, is contemplation, swadhyaya. And then last one but not the least, ishvara pranidhanatva means surrendering to the higher energy or higher power. Everything is not in our hands. We can only do as much as we can do.
Right.
So life is a fine balance between never give up and let go.
Right.
You will
Right.
not give up as long as you can do something, and once you realize that you can't do something, it's very important to let go. I think there, in the process of letting go, the ishvara pranidhanatva plays a great role. So when we know that there is a higher energy which can take care, like I usually give this analogy, like you're sitting in a car. When you trust the driver, you can sleep
Right. Right.
during the journey. If you don't, you continuously are watching the way,
Yeah.
and you might even try to control the driver.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Right? You're
Yes.
always under that pressure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to let go that, you have to trust the driver. So that's what this Ishvara Pranidhanatva is about. So trusting the higher energy, higher self,
Right.
to make it simpler, there is that deep energy within us,
Right.
and just trusting that energy. And sometimes it's important for us to accept and let go. And these
Right.
things can relieve us from great pressure.
Fantastic.
It can enhance our mental immunity, these attitudes. So for a person with weaker immunity, this is not easily possible. Then we have these processes of asana, pranayama, pratyahara. I'll explain each one of them. All of this comes under the Ashtanga Yoga. Ashta means 8, Anga means limbs, yoga. 8 limbs of yoga, starting from yamas. Yamas and niyamas are first 2. Then the third one is asana. Asana means the posture.
Mhm.
The definition of posture is Thiram Sukham Asana. The posture which is still and comfortable is asana, is
Mm.
posture. When we are doing yoga, it's not so. We suffer, right?
Right. Right.
And the posture is difficult, and especially when you're asked to hold on in the
Right.
posture, it's not easy.
Right. 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 Right.
Especially in the beginning or first timers will be like, what are you saying?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
How can I be comfortable in this
Right. Right.
weird position?
Yes.
Yes, but that's where yoga is. If that is not yoga, I mean, if you don't understand what yoga is there, I think it's difficult to understand it anywhere else.
Right.
So even under such pressure, under that discomfort, if you ace to relax,
Right.
I think you learn the great trick of life.
Right.
So that's asana. Pranayama is prana is the vital energy,
Right.
the life force, what you already spoken. Ayama means to regulate. Regulate
Okay.
the prana. The energy circulation throughout the body can be regulated. Breathing is one of the functions among many pranic functions happening in the body. We of course can't control heart. We can't
Yes.
control our circulation directly.
Right.
But there is one key, that's our breath. So when we try to when we learn to control our breathing, it becomes easier for us to calm down ourselves. The blood
Mm.
circulation comes down, the
Right.
heartbeat comes down, the muscles relax. So all the physiological processes can be controlled to regulated to some extent by the practice of pranayama. Not just the physiology, also the mind.
Mm.
Mind can be controlled too by pranayama. When we are under some emotion, stressful emotion, breathing will be altered.
Mhm.
breathing will be erratic,
Yeah, it'll be very fast. Yeah,
very fast.
correct.
And just by just by staying aware of the breathing, we can actually regulate the emotion. And that's about pranayama, fourth limb. And then is the pratyahara. Pratyahara means
Yeah, I can.
can you hear? Pratyahara is the control of senses.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, senses are known as the
Okay.
windows to mind. Senses are windows to mind,
Okay.
and mind goes out into the world through these senses. If we can control the senses, then it is easier for us to control the mind. That's the role of pratyahara. Under this, the practices are yoga nidra. We
Okay.
have the practice of yoga nidra where we relax deeply, we become aware, focus our senses on ourselves, on our breathing, on the sensations in the body. So
Right.
that's pratyahara practice. And then dharana. Dharana, the word translation of dharana is tying. So tying the mind to an object or to a point is dharana. Practices under this could be the simple example is trataka, candle meditation.
Okay.
In a dark room, we will have this candle light, and we try to focus on that candle light.
Okay.
So that's how you focus your mind on one point. One pointedness is one of the solutions in managing your mind. So
Oh,
that's pratyahara. Then is the dhyana. This is where meditation is. Dhyana means meditation.
meditation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So we are moving towards that manomaya kosha. This is in between manomaya and vijnanamaya kosha.
Right.
In meditation, you witness yourself. It's not like you sit and you are still, your mind, you are in that absolute state of bliss. Ideal, if that can happen, it's great without much effort. But meditation is also practice to become a witness.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if you can watch your own thoughts without being affected by them, that's meditation.
Okay. Okay.
So to make that possible, you have to attain a comfortable position. You should be comfortable physically. Your breathing should be at ease.
Right.
Your mind, your senses should be under control.
Right.
Your mind is one pointed. So all these processes come together to make meditation happen. So once we ace that, we will be into the state of samadhi,
Right.
which is the highest form. I don't know.
Okay.
I can't explain much about that because I've never experienced
Right.
that.
All right. Okay.
So
Very,
this
very
is
interesting.
how, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Carry on. Carry on. Sorry. Yeah.
So this is how yoga helps in building one's immunity, mental immunity.
Fantastic. So fantastic. So what I heard you saying, I mean, I was able to relate to, you said asana, pranayama, dharana, and dhyana. So what interesting?
Before that, pratyahara.
Yeah, pratyahara. So the interesting thing I actually, it's a big insight for me, you said, is that you cannot control your blood circulation. You can control your breathing. By control your breathing, you can control the many other things. I mean, I think that's a brilliant takeaway for me. All right. So I'm going to keep you for some more time. I'm going to ask you one more question. See, Dr. Manjula said, if somebody is mentally healthy, that means the person is sleeping well, waking up, and able to take the right decisions at the right moments, right? So that means if somebody is going through some sleep disorders, anxiety, it's abnormal, and especially, I also brought up this celebrity who committed suicide, and many people, we recognize mental illness normally through tendencies for suicidal thoughts, right? When somebody is going through issues like this, what can be done in that situation?
Okay. So here, what I had told in the beginning comes into the picture. Manas, we'll consider mind here.
Right.
Every thought is a force. Let's understand this a little more, and then I'll get into the solution of what one can do. Every thought is a force, And under mental illness, because like we have already spoken, mind is not in under our control.
Right.
Mind has become the master.
Right.
When there is mental illness, mind is the master. So awareness is lost.
Right.
So every thought is a force. So there is so many thoughts in the mind, and so there will be the ability to make right decisions will be lost. Though
Right.
they know the knowledge, they know that this is not right, but they will make the wrong choices there.
Right.
So mind will be at high speed. We have to understand this. Whatever you put into that mind, it only multiplies.
Mhm.
So in this situation, it is very, very important to slow down the mind, calm down the mind.
Mm.
So only then we will be able to recognize the real solution.
Right. Right.
So there we have to provide an opportunity for the individual to release the thoughts.
Okay.
We call it sublimation.
Okay. Sublimation.
Sublimation of emotions, like because of all the suppression that they have done, like they have only control. If you go and tell them, don't be like this is not good, you're again encouraging them to suppress.
Right. Right.
That's not the solution. That's what the conventional systems do. They suppress the symptoms. So when you're having some signs, they are only indicating what is wrong.
Mhm.
And if you're just removing those symptoms without actually dealing with the root cause,
Yeah.
that's not the right way of handling it.
Right.
So maybe none of us know the real solution, but we have to allow it to calm down, cool down. There, the yogic counseling comes into the picture.
Okay.
Where the professionals come into the picture, where we sit with the person, individual, or it could be anyone with whom the person is comfortable with,
Okay.
whom the person feels like I'm not judged.
Mhm.
And that's okay for me to tell things to them. They
Right.
won't be affected. This is
Right.
very important. They're not judged, and the person who is listening will not be affected.
Right.
This will not happen easily with a loud person.
Mm.
And they're very close to them. They may be worried that if I say something, they will be affected. I
Right.
don't want them to be disturbed.
Right.
So there is a barrier there. You can't make this happen. Or someone, or your fear, you're scared that they will judge you.
Mhm.
Even that will not allow
Right.
someone to open
Right.
up. So that to create that conducive environment is very important, and that is what we do in our yogi counseling. We just listen, and we may use some techniques like relaxation techniques,
Okay.
because whatever they are going through can be manifested in our physical body too. So simple relaxation techniques, but yet powerful ones like IRT, instant relaxation technique, or QRT, quick relaxation technique, where we use the sound vibrations. In this
Mhm.
quick relaxation, we allow them to vent out in the form of sound vibrations.
Wow.
They don't tell anything, but
Wow.
we tell them to do take a deep breath in and breathe out from the abdomen with a
Mhm.
sound like ah. You just let them vent out like that. So that's how we are designed. If you see a
Right.
baby, it cries loudly.
Yes. 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 Yes.
There is no condition for that baby like, no, I should not cry like this.
Right.
But as we grow up, that is what happens. We are
Right.
like, no, I should not cry out like that. It is not good. We are conditioned, and that's how we end up bottling up the emotions and have end up with mental illnesses. So the techniques like this help in releasing the emotions,
Right.
and deep relaxation techniques, which also includes visualization. Like
Okay.
in the relaxing position, we will be giving instructions to watch what is happening really.
Mhm.
There could be instances where the person who is suffering is not even having idea why is this happening, because it's all deep inside. It's
Right.
not there under their awareness. So only when we allow that conscious mind to turn off and subconscious mind to come into picture, it will not happen. So we
Right.
have techniques like this to release, and along with that, as one improves, we will consider giving them the pranayama. Of course, depending on case,
Right.
we give them pranayama practices, meditation practices, and also some yoga, because we see this happening.
Right.
People practice postures,
Right.
and during the posture practice, they cry.
Wow. Wow.
That happens because they have held the emotions in different parts of the body.
Wow.
Even
Wow.
this happens. So even posture practice can be of great help in managing emotions.
Okay.
So
Thank
that's how yoga looks at it. And from the naturopathic view, it's very important. You do all of this, and if you don't take care of the proper nutrient support, you're not handling the situation from all the angles.
Okay.
There could be simple reason as nutrient deficiency.
Mhm.
There could be no real reason there.
Right. Right.
We spoke about that subconscious stress and all
Yes,
of that.
yes, yes,
There
yes.
must not be anything there,
Right.
but just that nutrient deficiency. They're
Okay.
feeling like they're sad because of the abnormal biochemistry.
Right.
So providing the proper nutrients come into the picture here. So the nutrients necessary for good mental health are omega-3 fatty acids,
Mhm.
which are available in chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, basil seeds. Vitamin B complex,
Okay.
which are present in green leafy vegetables, sunflower
Right.
seeds, legumes. Some like especially the vitamin B12 and folate under
Right.
B complex.
Right.
So when I say vitamin B12, it's a pure. It's available only in non-vegetarian sources. People who change their diet habits to like veganism and things, then there could be the chances of having deficiency. So they must consider the dairy products, and if not, they're strict vegans, then they should consider some fortified foods like the nutritional Ace
Right.
and things like that. And other nutrients are like zinc, magnesium. Zinc is again available in the seeds, sesame seeds especially, and then magnesium present in the green leafy vegetables, and the um, vitamin D and probiotics.
Okay.
Vitamin D, sunshine nutrient, sunshine vitamin. When we stay indoors for longer duration, what happens? We naturally feel depressed.
Right.
It's because of lack of sunshine,
Right.
and
Right.
that has
Okay.
happened. I think that is what has happened during this lockdown
Lockdown,
period.
isn't it? Yes.
Many
Yes.
people
Yes.
are feeling depressed
Because they are not
they are
got exposed.
indoors.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
So exposing to sunshine is especially the one in the mornings and during the sunset. That's very important. And the sun vitamin D trapped in the mushrooms
Okay.
can also be of great help. And probiotics.
Okay.
Probiotics take care of the gut health.
Mhm.
Gut brain axis is a great contributor for our mental health. So it's very important to take care of the gut health, the microflora of the gut health, and there the probiotics have great role to play.
Okay.
Like the yogurt is a good probiotic, and
Right.
spirulina, you can consider that. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So prebiotics are the food items which are good in dietary fibers.
Mhm.
Prebiotics are important for probiotics. And I was talking about amino acids. Amino acid tryptophan is a precursor for serotonin hormone.
Okay.
Tryptophan is an essential amino acid, and that is available in legumes and many other vegetables. If you consider only having legumes, you may not be supporting the body in correct manufacturing of serotonin. How we combine this amino the proteins with carbs come to the picture. Tryptophan, when works with carbs only, can release serotonin hormone.
Right.
So dal, chawal, what we have in Indian menus is great for that. That's why maybe some people, when they are low, they crave for this.
Right.
rice
Right.
and dal.
Yeah,
and
my
things like
favorite.
that.
Rice and dal. Rice and dal. All right.
So, yes. So this is how a naturopathic diet looks at it, and generally exposure to the nature,
Right.
the sunlight, or just viewing at the sky is a great
Right.
relaxant. And taking strolls of fresh air can
Right.
make one feel better. I think these are they should be very simple in the beginning, at
Right.
least. We believe in naturopathy. When there is harmony within and around, then there
Yeah.
will be health.
Right.
It could be mental or physical.
Right. Right.
So there, when you expose more and more to the nature, fresh nature, that itself can be therapy. And acupuncture is one more modality here, which works on the energy circulation throughout the body. There are so particular points located on the body where when manipulated, has the calming down effect, or very good in symptomatic management, also the root cause management.
Okay.
And hydrotherapy treatments
Right.
also are very effective. So,
Okay. So we are running short of time. I have two important questions. I really have to ask these questions. Manjula has not spoken for a long time. She's quiet. So I'm going to ask this question to Manjula, and then one more last question. You can choose who you want to who's going to answer that. Okay. See, Manjula, this question is for you. There are several wellness centers across the world which provide different approaches on mental health. How is the approach different in Shreyas, and what is unique about Shreyas?
As you explained in your first slide,
Okay.
is 25 acres property with just which can accommodate 27 guests at a time. So having said that, you can and we have a very strong group of professionals, which includes Ayurveda doctors, naturopaths, and yoga team. So each guest who comes in here gets very personalized attention.
Okay.
One more thing is we wait till the guest becomes open. He or she can have good rapport with the team,
Right.
and he or his family considers our team as an extended family
Right.
when they go from here.
Right.
And the everything is customized, as I was telling, combined, and the service is given to the guest. The service will guest will never feel he or she is forced into some sessions or some therapies, or nobody will probe or whatever. And the ambience of the place,
Yep.
the
Yep.
nature, the design and decor of Shreyas,
Right. Right.
all adds to it.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place. I have been there multiple times. I must
Yeah.
agree, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is, I think this is our very strong point.
Right. Right.
Yeah. This is a very strong point, and how we are different from all other
Yeah.
wellness centers.
Yes. 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 Yeah, I have been to the place. I mean, we got beautiful trails to run, and it's. I mean, as Shauja said, if you connect with the nature, and that gives so much of relaxation, and I have felt that many times whenever I came to Shreyas. All right. Last question. This anybody can take this question. I know Shreyas was locked down for several weeks because it was a mandated lockdown by the government. You have opened for the wellness guests, I think very recently, about a week or 10 days ago. Now tell me, what is the story with Shreyas post-COVID?
So during this pandemic, we all have understood that safety starts from me and my family.
Yep.
In this regard, we have educated each staff regarding the COVID-19 condition and importance of social distancing, hand hygiene, and personal hygiene. We at Shreyas have always practiced yoga as part of our sadhana. If you're
Yeah, I know that.
when you are here.
I know that.
So that has helped us greatly in keeping up our immunity. And apart from that, we have educated our family staff and staff family in terms of building up immunity through the healthy lifestyle and Ayurveda decoctions. Dr. Manjula has personally gone into the kitchen, have shown them how to prepare some decoctions. Like she's given alternatives.
Right.
Like if you like this tea, you can try this, and
Right.
so on.
Right. Right.
So we have done that, and we are following the standard guidelines of the local authorities. And we are also a RNC property, like you already introduced as
Right.
Reliance
Reliance.
Chateau
Yeah.
a property. We are following the guidelines from both of them. We have set our protocols, and we have trained our staff for the same, and that is happening continually, because staff training is not something which finishes in 1 or 2 sessions.
Yes. Yes.
We are doing it continuously, and as the rules change, we are updating the staff regarding the same. Not only this, our CEO meets our staff
Yes.
very often. He
Yeah.
wants to stay connected, he wants to listen
Right.
from everyone, and
Right.
we are taking our staff feedback too, like where are they having difficulties, what is practical and what is not practical, and we are considering everything, and where we cannot compromise, we are being very strict about it. And according to the standard guidelines, we have installed all the necessary equipments for sterilization and disinfection. Yes, we have also changed our plan in terms of guest care. We have a plan. We have opened on June 15th. Since then, we have guests staying with us, experiencing yoga, experiencing massages, etc. However, we could not open the steam gym and pool as per the guidelines.
Right. Right.
We have introduced immune building practices in our
Okay.
yoga sessions,
Okay.
and even the diet is supervised by the doctor's team to ensure that the diet is immune enhancing. And yes, this is how Shreyas
Right.
has
Thank you.
updated.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, doctors. I thoroughly enjoyed this session. Let me say I was enlightened, right? The Panchakosha, Panchakesha, and what? You spoke about asana, pranayama, dhyana, pratyahara, and something else. So it's a wonderful learning for me personally. I hope all the people who are watching this live webinar is able to draw a lot of insights, and hope that they will take the opportunity, of course, to build their mental immunity, and also um, make a visit to Shreyas and experience the stay and the programs that you all provide. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.